and gentlemen, Mayor Sharon Wolcott.
That's kind of hard to follow. Well, good evening. It's really wonderful to see all of you here in this light box. What a beautiful addition to the Grand Avenue corridor, don't you agree? This facility is an exciting enhancement to the original gateway to our city. The light box is a welcoming and open gathering place, a place to embrace new ideas, a place to celebrate, and a place to educate future generations of our workforce. This emerging West-MEC campus ties us not only to the future, but to our community that is rooted in work and family. So also I want to thank the Regional Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this event this evening, and to our partners here at West-MEC for hosting us this evening. Thank you ever so much. Sidebar, I have to say, Greg, thanks for not wearing the orange jacket. It's fitting that I deliver this year's State of the City address in one of Surprise's newest spaces, along one of the state's most historic corridors for transportation and commerce. Now, I come to you each year around this time to discuss ways in which we can build a city for the future. And helping me set the policies to achieve success are my colleagues on the City Council. So please welcome Vice Mayor Ken Remley, Councilmember Roland Winters, Councilmember Nancy Hayden, Councilmember Patrick Duffy, and Councilmember Todd Tandy. Thank you also to City Manager Bob Wiggenroth for taking those policies and working with our incredible staff to grow an amazing surprise. Thank you, Bob. And of course, no city can make it in isolation. We have some great partners that share a vision of building strong communities. Some of our neighboring leaders join us this evening, so please welcome Kathy Carlott, Mayor of Peoria. Michael LaVault, Mayor of Youngtown. Bridget Binsbacher, City of Peoria Council Member. The West Valley's pal, Danny Valenzuela, City of Phoenix Council Member. Arizona State Senator Sina Kerr. Arizona State Senator Rick Gray. Ben Graff, board member of Central Arizona Water Conservation District. Ben? And my newest bestest friend, Dennis Tyner, Vice President of Ottawa University. As you saw in the video, 2017 was an exciting year for Surprise. We completed the ramps at the Bell Grand intersection right up the road here. We passed the city's first general obligation bond. We welcomed Ottawa University, and West-MEC opened this beautiful space. And we did all of those things and so much more by working together. Through the national citizen surveys and public meetings and ongoing conversations, our residents let us know what they wanted to see in their city. Safety, mobility, the economy, and education, they all top the list. Well, my friends, we have made great strides in all of those areas. As the public safety and transportation projects are built through the bond over the next 5 years, we will see even more improvements. So, where do we go from here? I'm sure by now everyone has heard that Bill Gates is investing $80 million to build a smart city not too far to the west of us. And it's planned for high-speed networks and data centers, the latest in manufacturing technologies, and autonomous vehicles. Now, as we continue to grow Surprise, it will be imperative to keep up with the technology and innovation to remain competitive in the future. And at the same time, we must be mindful of creating and developing a true sense of place. The New York Times last month published an article entitled, "Silicon Valley is Over." It was about a group of Northern California-based venture capitalists that took a 3-day bus tour through the Rust Belt. They stopped in Youngstown and Akron, Ohio, Detroit and Flint, Michigan, and my hometown, South Bend, Indiana. They were pleasantly surprised to find these cities had transformed over the years and now included eclectic cafes and coffee shops and boutiques that they frequent back in the Bay Area. Now, in sharp contrast to the Silicon Valley, they appreciated the lower cost of living, lighter traffic volumes, and that people they encountered were hungry for opportunity to innovate. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? As we grow our city, especially that area around City Hall, our future downtown, we must be mindful of what makes a place a great place for people to live and work in an urban environment. But we must also be thoughtful for those public spaces that become destinations, not only for our residents, but for visitors to our city. We must make these spaces memorable, leaving lasting impressions that incent people to return. Project for Public Spaces, a nonprofit group dedicated to creating and sustaining public places that build communities, identifies 4 key attributes in creating a great place: sociability, uses and activities, comfort and image, access and linkage. The intangibles that support these key attributes include these terms: accessibility, continuity, walkable, interactive, diverse, fun, special, charming, sustainable, neighborly, and welcoming, just to name a few. Now, for 2 decades, our residents have heard its leaders talk about downtown. And for 2 decades, the most significant investments in our city center have been made by you, and you, and you, the taxpayer. Whether it's City Hall, the baseball complex, our public library, tennis center, pickleball courts, aquatic center, and all that infrastructure surrounding it, these represent an estimated $250 million public investment in your future. And that number continues to grow. So no one can say the city hasn't walked the walk, and we continue to do so. We spent 18 months working with the City of Phoenix and Luke Air Force Base to lift the deed restrictions over the privately owned city center property. We spent over a decade hammering out a solution to the Bell Grand intersection. Those 2 initiatives were brought to me by Surprise Center Development Corporation about 6 years ago as critical to a successful downtown development. I was asked to personally lead the charge, but we delivered. Last year, our willingness to partner with the private sector to activate the city center reached a major milestone with the opening of Ottawa University. This was a 5-year initiative that came from the City Council's strategic plan. And an important part of the university initiative was to complete a long-awaited section of Greenway to the south of City Center. Most recently, we opened Civic Center Drive North, finally connecting our Civic Center directly to the businesses on Bell Road. Now, these improvements benefit everyone who's already here, and every developer eyeing the city center as a shovel-ready opportunity. While we continue to celebrate our progress, We don't have time to rest on our laurels. The public, amazingly, wants more. And there isn't a day I don't get asked, where is our downtown? Right, Council? Right. Last week, I received an email from Linda A. in District 5. She states, I have lived here in the city now for 18 years, and I have quit falling for that silly line about you actually creating a downtown. You will just continue to graze cattle on land, and it could have been a downtown. And oh, by the way, Linda ended her email by saying, I hope you never run again for anything. Well, Linda, 5 years ago, there was little more than empty talk and a lot of cow cakes littering the crumbled runways of Luke's auxiliary field. No one has done more to advance the prospect of building this vision, but to shape development beyond the boundaries of our public lands, no matter where they are in the city. We must have a functioning relationship and partnership with those landowners. And above all, we've got to have a plan. The landowners must listen to our residents and the end users and all stakeholders to build the quality place we all want to be a part of. Now, if you read through the supporting documents of their early vision for this city center, it includes a cemetery. Somehow, I don't believe that reflects the sense of place that Surprise is looking for anymore. We are badly in need of a refresh, and we cannot afford another moment of inaction, nor can we squander this unique opportunity to build a true downtown. There are 200 square miles of undeveloped land in our planning area, suitable for rooftops and parks and trails and open space. Surely we can preserve 1 square mile at City Center for a unique gathering place that serves everyone. While in Toronto recently, I was urged by a renowned architect and urban planner to continue my resistance to defining Surprise as merely a bedroom community for Phoenix. He said something that really stuck with me. He said, the wrong people are being handed the job of designing cities these days. Cities shouldn't be designed by home builders. They should be designed by visionaries. So I challenge the residents of Surprise. Be visionary. Don't settle. Don't let this opportunity evaporate. The pressure to take down this land with single-family homes will be intense this election cycle. That $250 million investment that you have made in this property will turn into a subsidy for someone else's urban lifestyle. And that, my friends, would be the ultimate betrayal to generations of Surprise taxpayers. Recently, a group made up of members of the City Council and the Planning Commission, key leadership on our city staff, and the partners of Surprise City Development Corporation met to talk about the city center. To that end, I'm pleased to share that 2 of the 3 city center landowners have committed to us to work collaboratively with us to develop a detailed master plan. Now, if only we can get that last landowner, we can make it unanimous. As a group, we need to commit to working together, to find a third party to help the 2 sides shape the vision into a plan that can be jointly marketed and implemented. The public engagement process is critical to our success. Why? Because as we design our city center, we shouldn't think like a city planner or architect or an engineer. We need to think like a citizen. Sound advice from the recent Global Congress on Smart Cities. Our residents have invested in this dream for 20 years. My charge to the landowners is to work with us, work with our residents, but then adopt a credible master plan by the end of the 2018 calendar year. It is critical, a critical document to help us evaluate new projects as they emerge. And in the meantime, we won't pass up on the business opportunities that are coming our way. We will review them collaboratively to see if they meet the unmet needs we've spoken about for years. Needs that simply must be met by the private sector, but development that will be enhanced by the considerable public investment that has already been made by all of us. Our taxpayers, thank you. We'll take it. Thank you. Give a hand to those taxpayers. Our taxpayers deserve a return on their investment, and that dividend must be enjoyed by all. Now, I, for one, believe we will find private investors who see the value of growing a central business district at City Center, growing professional jobs, in addition to the support sector jobs that have begun to emerge. Some of these investors may be right here in this room. Who knows? Surprise cannot sustain itself on entry-level employment or manufacturing jobs in isolation from the fifth largest economic ecosystem in the US. We are a regional economy, and we deserve our fair share of knowledge-based jobs. And while we work to bring a spectrum of employment opportunities to a variety of locations around our city, our downtown deserves its own brand. Our economic development team is now adopting a new Ames approach to job growth to help drive economic competitiveness and better define our value proposition to businesses citywide. This strategy focuses on advanced manufacturing, innovation, medical travel, and signature retail. Advanced manufacturing because Surprise has attracted internationally headquartered operations. Innovation because our award-winning AZ Techcelerator is now one of only 31 designated soft landing programs in 8 countries recognized for its capabilities in supporting non-US companies to grow in the US market. Medical travel, because starting with Canada, the #1 international visitation market to Arizona, Surprise wants to offer healthcare solutions for global visitors. Nearly 1 million Canadians visit Arizona each year, spending $1.4 billion. You know, that's equivalent to hosting 3 Super Bowls. In fact, the Arizona Department of Tourism reports that last year, 17,500 Canadians made medical visits to Arizona, spending $42 million on healthcare. So for all these reasons, it makes sense for us to lead an initiative that will attract medical tourism dollars and high-paying jobs, medical jobs, to Surprise. And finally, yes, and finally, signature retail. Because as Surprise grows, its diverse demographics, purchasing power, and top locations for premier retailers only grow stronger. And we want Surprise to be a top quality destination. Each of these focus areas are cutting edge and ever-changing sectors that will require a newly skilled workforce. And guess what? Surprise is ready to train that workforce. Our own research done in partnership with MAG shows the workforce is already here in places like Surprise and Peoria. We must be committed to growing urban-style living options for all parts of our workforce in our future downtown, creating destinations that attract residents and visitors alike, and generate revenues that help our city continue to provide the top quality services that residents have come to expect. If we collaborate, we will not miss out on the robust business cycle that's booming through our country right now. Surprise City Center is like an opportunity like no other to define what quality of life in a city of the future should look like, should feel like, should be. And even a chance to inspire innovators like Bill Gates as he builds his little city in the desert to the west. But folks, measure twice, cut once. We only have one chance to do this right. Here in Surprise, we know that quality of life matters in attracting high-paying jobs and innovative businesses. That's why investing in parks and trails and community events and social services are important to all of us, and diverse housing options that help attract employers and assist in growing the wealth of our community. Throughout Surprise, we need apartments and condos and single-family homes for first-time homebuyers and those in executive-level positions. This allows a person to begin a career in Surprise and afford to live here. And as they rise through the ranks and grow into higher wage positions, we must make those next-level housing options available as well. And that is why we were all so thrilled to see Toll Brothers' proposal to bring more than 2,200 luxury homes to our city. Those homes will have stunning views of the White Tank mountain range to the west and easy access to the growing amenities and destination retail sprouting up along the 303 corridor. Let me pause here to thank a friend and a mentor, Mayor Jackie MEC of Buckeye. Mayor MEC reached out to me several years ago, knowing of my fondness for the White Tanks. Together, Buckeye and Surprise became founding members of the White Tank Mountain Conservancy. While the White Tanks are the jewel of the entire West Valley, there are no two cities more committed to their preservation than Buckeye and Surprise. To that end, Mayor MEC and I came to an agreement last year with Maricopa County to add the entire mountain range and county park to our respective planning areas. Now, our agreement is to further the efforts of preservation by managing the growth surrounding the park with developments that are complementary to the park as a destination, while enhancing the public's access and embracing educational opportunities already in place through Maricopa County Parks and the White Tank Library. There is no doubt that education is and always will be a primary factor in growing a vibrant community. So for this particular effort with the White Tanks, I specifically, again, want to thank my friend, Jackie MEC. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Economic development begins in kindergarten. And our education partners are doing some amazing things to grow the future workforce. Dysart schools operate under a personalized learning environment where students demonstrate competency with tailored learning pathways that will help them be adaptive in this ever-changing world. Their graduate profile includes the following attributes: critical thinker, communicator, tech-skilled, innovative, collaborative, and so on. Whether in our public schools and charter schools or in our private schools, Surprise is growing some of the most amazing young leaders. And if you want to see for yourself, just tune in to a city council meeting any week and listen to their stories. And our Surprise Youth Council is spreading the word about leadership and service throughout the greater community. It's truly impactful work, and we're so proud of them all. Here at West-MEC, the continued focus on career and technical education, professional development, and community classes are sharpening the skills of young people and working adults. And Ottawa University's approach to higher education is that along with coursework, community service, and faith help to provide a roadmap to guide students as they embark upon a career path. And if I could just take a moment to congratulate Ottawa on receiving a $6 million donation from the Odell family to begin construction on the Odell Center for Athletics at their Surprise campus. Congratulations. It's so exciting to see your school grow right next to City Hall. Ottawa's OUAZ is a shining example of what it means to build a sense of place within a community. Thank you for making your new home in Surprise. And of course, creating spaces that attract people is great, but if they have no way to get here, we have a problem. And frankly, we do have a transit problem in Surprise. Our one rapid transit hope of connecting to the regional grid through bus rapid transit along Grant Avenue and the future 303 was dashed by this Great Recession and the rebalancing of regional priorities that left the West Valley hungry for resources. If you don't have a car, there aren't a lot of public transportation options here. And if the automobile is your transportation mode, much of our needed arterial system has been ignored until now. So as this region takes its next steps to grow, I want to acknowledge MAG for keeping the faith on the importance of the Bell and Grand interchange to the future of Surprise and the Northwest Valley. In particular, I want to acknowledge Bob Hazlett, himself a West Sider, who became a fixture in our City Hall and a vocal advocate for Bell and Grand. But perhaps more importantly, I want to give a special thanks to Eric Anderson. Eric, where are you? Show yourself. There you are. Eric, thank you. It hardly seems possible, but almost a decade ago, Eric helped me turn the Bell Grand discussion from a pretty misguided proposal that would have closed off nearly every entry from Grand Avenue to our primary retail center and simply moved our problem at Bell and Grand about a block south, right about there. And unbelievably, it would have established a new at-grade crossing at BNSF rail facility. It would have been a profound misstep. Last month, I was proud to vote to install Eric as the new Executive Director of the Maricopa Association of Governments. Eric, our city looks forward to working with you as we develop a fully connected Northwest Valley. Congratulations on your appointment. So, could a Prop 500 regional sales tax help fund mass transit in Surprise? Maybe. But Surprise must show its hand to the region. We must show that not only do we have a vision, but we have a plan. And here's what it could look like. I'd like to give a shout out to our amazing staff for developing this surface transportation plan. And as we work to develop our transit master plan, I sincerely thank all of you who took the online transit feasibility survey in March. Your input will help us shape this much needed plan, and we will host workshops to further engage with you this summer and fall. We must be prepared to commit to build an arterial grid that serves a model of commercial and residential growth that is sustainable. We must be prepared to respond to how future residents will want to live in our community and commit every available resource in the most efficient manner. And we must have a vision for how to maintain viable transportation corridors that are sensitive to the natural environment around us. Jackrabbit Trail should be developed with a meandering rural feel that respects its proximity to the mountain range and provides visual relief to the compactness of the local grid. We also need a plan for alternative modes of transportation that are more nimble and can respond to the ever-changing technology and needs of our residents. When you look around the region and around our country at the legacy investments in expensive transit modes and see the lagging ridership, it should give you pause. We must continue to search for new solutions. Now, I served on the National League of Cities Transportation and Infrastructure Services Committee and continue to engage in conversation about autonomous vehicles. They are becoming a game changer in addressing the need for more public transit. And it is the private sector that is leading the way. Waymo's self-driving vehicles have been offering rides to people in parts of Phoenix and Chandler, Gilbert, Mesa, and Tempe for months. In fact, the Maricopa Association of Governments reports there are 500 autonomous vehicles driving on our streets across the greater Phoenix region. Not long ago, I was joined by city staff in touring Local Motors in Chandler, where they are building and testing autonomous Ollie shuttles that could be a perfect fit to provide circulator route services. I've had conversations with leaders in Arlington, Texas, about their successful Milo pilot project, in which autonomous shuttles in their entertainment district provide free rides for visitors before and after major events, including Rangers and Cowboys games. Wouldn't it be something to have that kind of service for our spring training fans? And for Ottawa students to travel from campus to a local coffee shop, or residents to access their favorite local retailer. This transportation technology is more than just connecting us to entertainment or jobs. It's connecting us to life-saving medical visits. The San Francisco Business Times reports that more than 3.5 million Americans endure transportation barriers in trying to get to a doctor's appointment. And we're seeing that happen right here in Surprise. Again, the private sector is finding solutions. Lyft has partnered with electronic health records company Allscripts to provide rides for patients. There are over 100 healthcare companies using Uber Health as a way to get patients to their medical appointments. These things are happening all around us. Why not Surprise? We're the perfect mix, the perfect market of senior residents that no longer drive and younger residents that choose not to drive or can't afford to buy a car. We are exploring ways to attract this technology to Surprise. Part of that will include having serious discussions on funding, Council. While there are possibilities of subscription-based services, in order to make this an equitable transportation solution for all people, we must identify a public funding source as well. Good transportation, education, and employment all support a healthy quality of life. However, the most critical piece is our access to water. We have a very important election coming up May 15th that will determine how the city plans to address our future water needs. In this mail-in ballot election, voters will decide whether the city should proceed with the purchase of Circle City Water, a small water plant in our northern planning area. If approved, the city would use existing water credits to purchase this plant and grow our surface water allocation by 38%. Why is that important? In Surprise, we use groundwater to meet residents and business needs. What we pump out of the ground must be replaced with an equal amount of surface water, which in our case includes Colorado River allocations, and that is a renewable surface water source. I invite you all to learn more about on our city website, and I truly encourage you to exercise your voice by voting. Voting is an important way to engage, but another great way to engage is to roll up your sleeves and get to work with your community members. That may mean volunteering at the senior center, volunteering at a school, or at one of the most amazing nonprofits that we have here in Surprise. It may mean serving on a city commission or attending a city council meeting just to stay in touch. I mentioned earlier how proud we are of Surprise's young people. I repeat, our city's youth are doing great things to connect with their city government. The Shadow Ridge Choir that performed for us this evening is just one shining example. Weren't they outstanding? Thank you for being here and for helping to make this evening special for all of us. Our Youth Services Division is working alongside the Surprise Youth Council to bring their voice to City Hall. And why do we care so much? Because we, the leadership in Surprise, we need to know what issues matter to our younger residents so that we can create the policies that will enhance their lives and the lives of all of the ages in our community. And our youth have found productive ways to not only engage each other, but their parents and family members in helping us build a stronger community. It's true that we have done an awful lot these past years to set the stage for continued success in Surprise. But after all, isn't that what we are charged with? By making the right decisions today, we can be sure to build a city for those who are not even here yet, the future generations of Surprise. Our forefathers and mothers did it for us. How humbling it is to be in a position to pay it forward. I'm honored to be on this journey with all of you and excited to see the beautiful results that await us. Thank you. Thank you, Surprise.